office at USC Sumter, and he has brought lots of stuff. And as I said, you might want to, Chuck, move over so you can see the screen. It's not going to project to that one. And then he's going to hang around after his presentation and answer questions, and he will try and gather information about the next presentation. So if you have, major questions and really gray areas where we have not gone into today, we will try and cover it for the March Blackboard 2 session. He will also tell you that Blackboard is going through a massive update soon, a little bit, and March 1 will deal with that. It's going to be completely what's the word here? Updated. Shall I leave it at that? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
So whatever you learned today is going to be outdated.
Yeah, probably.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike Brown from the Division of IT out of Columbia. We are doing Blackboard and educational technology support. I've probably talked to a lot of you, I hope. Some things, can I write on this board? Is there something? Marker. If I can find a marker. There are thieves around here. That's what it is.
Is that it?
Looks like
I have
white.
some if you need.
You want just chocolate?
That's okay, the
Throw
numbers
it.
should be on here. Wow, good, man. Just work for the national.
Yes.
I don't know what your local number is here, but I know our service desk number. Here's our easy ways to get in touch with us. You call the service desk at 777-1800 or go to sc.edu IT help. You can actually put in a ticket online for us. We answer your questions as quickly as we can, of course. I'm going to hand these out. I have a bunch of stuff here. Some is about Blackboard Collaborate, which we're going to focus on today, but also I wanted to very quickly take a look at what the upgrade is going to be. And the upgrade, probably good. Take one of these and start them back. We are doing a big upgrade to Blackboard in December. We're actually going to be shut down for about a week. The major things that are happening with it are in the background, are things that you don't have anything to do with but are very important to me. But we do have a new front end, what it's going to look like when you actually go into it. And it will look like that. You'll notice it's a very different menu. And I think it's much easier access. If I scroll down here, you can see there's helpful links. But the big deal here is what's going on the right-hand side of the screen. Left, right, stage right. This is
There we go. That worked.
You'll notice that it's not as cluttered as it is right now. It's very easy to see things. What's here? First of all, your profile will be here, which you'll be able to update, give information on yourself here. There's a thing called Activity Stream, which is going to tell you all of the things that are going on in your courses. Very quick jumps. Any of these are hot links. You can click on them and go right to the pages. If you've got assignments coming up, tests coming up, everything else, you can go and look at them. Your courses will be under courses, and because this is a test site right now, I only have one course up, but all of your courses will be listed here. You can jump immediately to your courses from this area. So you just have to hit the menu Courses, and all of your courses will be listed. All of your organizations as well will be listed. A full calendar will be here of anything that you are putting in for your assignments. If you're putting in due dates and things like that, it will all be listed. Notice too that students will see this. This is very important. Suddenly, all of a sudden up front is all of the stuff that you're putting on for due dates for your students.
Awesome.
Your students say, I didn't know this thing was going on. Look at your calendar. They never do
Students
that.
never say that.
Yeah, they never say this. And you will notice there's a due date section here, which tells them immediately what things are due. You can look at it by day or month. It's a pretty nice calendar.
Can you adjust it so that the home page is what you want, or is it gonna?
It's pretty much always this, yeah.
It's always gonna be that, okay.
At least for this.
Okay.
Messages. You can use course messaging. I don't know if any of you use it now, but you can use course messages to send out messages to your students. If you send messages or students send messages to you, then they show up here. Again, right in front. Easy, easy kind of a dashboard way of looking at things.
I like that.
And of course, grades, which for you is going to tell you what grades are ready to be done, but for your students, it's going to easily display all their grades. And that's really it. One thing I want you to notice, if I go to courses and click on my course, it looks identical to what you've got now.
That's good.
The internal course does not change. Everything that you do now in a course is going to apply to this. The only thing that's changing is the front-end interface for you. The nice thing is you can pull this up, but you notice there's a big X here. You want to close it down your back at your main page. I think this is a lot easier to work with, kind of easy peasy. A lot more than all these modules sticking out. Yeah.
For this courses page, is it still gonna do what courses does now, which is list all of the courses you've ever taught there in Blackboard?
Yeah, but you can modify that.
Yeah, but, will they be in a, can you change the order and stuff that you see them?
Yes, you'll be able to modify this but you'll notice there is a search engine here where you can search for your courses, but you'll be able to modify this pretty easily.
Messages, are these the same as the email messages we have when
It's
we
messages in
announce,
Blackboard.
email an announcement, or it's a different system?
That's different.
Okay.
Let me, where's my, I can hand these out. This is a full rundown of the changes that will be available. So that's what's coming. Yes,
We'll be able, the copying courses, is it still gonna
everything like that is gonna be the same,
be
identical.
effective?
Can I get one?
The only thing that changes is when you hit that front end page after you log in. This will be available probably the last week of December, depending on how our upgrade goes. But you can be assured that when you start your spring courses, this is what you're going to be walking into. I'm going to back out of this and let's get into our main subject today. Any of you used Collaborate?
I do it.
I think I have.
Rest of you are slackers, that's all I can say. Blackboard Collaborate Ultra is a great web conferencing tool, and if you use Adobe Connect right now, Adobe Connect is the same thing, but we are slowly moving away from Adobe Connect into Blackboard Collaborate. Why? First of all, Collaborate does not require Adobe Flash to run. So we don't have all these problems with I can't view videos and things like that because of Adobe Flash. It is built directly into your course. So each course has a Collaborate section in it where you can actually go in, create Collaborate sessions. Your students have the ability to create Collaborate sessions if they want to do group meetings and things like that for group collaboration. You can turn off the Collaborate feature if you want to withhold it from students, and you can link directly to it, and I will show you that. Bless you. There is no illness in this hearing. This is an illness-free zone.
Just allergies.
Yeah, boy.
Allergy to learning.
Yeah,
We
more
encounter a
likely,
lot
yeah.
of that.
With Collaborate, you can set up a session, you can do a live session, you can record that session. When you record a session, when you create a session, it creates a regular web address, a URL, that you can copy and then you can paste somewhere into your Blackboard course. So this, if students want to review the session, they can click on it and they can review it. You can set this up so that it can be downloaded, the recording can be downloaded as an MP3 file. Real easy and very, very nice to do if you want to post this somewhere else. You can designate someone in your class as a transcriber, so that as you are talking in your lecture, somebody can be typing for you and it appears along the bottom. Really nice for accessibility. It also features chat, sharing of files, whiteboarding, polling, and even breakout rooms where you can assign students to a breakout room so that they can talk amongst themselves for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they can come back into the larger group. Pretty much everything that you can do in a regular classroom, you can do in Collaborate. And it's very, very easy. I'm going to show you where the tools are. The handout that I have given you with Blackboard Collaborate, everybody get one, has just about everything basically that you need to know of Collaborate. This sounds like an awful lot, but let me tell you that once you use this, you will find it a very, very easy tool to use. So let's take a look at it. I'm in a course right now. Where is it? You don't see Collaborate listed anywhere. If you go over to Tools and click on it, in your tool bin, down here, Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. You see it? You may want to do something. When you're doing sessions for your students, there are 2 ways to do this. You can create a session and you can direct them to go to the Collaborate site, and then they can click on the session and go into it. You can also copy the URL and post it to something like an announcement or an area that you want them to go to look for it. They can click on the URL and they can go right in. This URL feature is also very nice if you have guest speakers, because you don't have to be logged into Blackboard to use it. If you have a guest speaker, you send them the URL, they click on it, they go right in. Here's what I generally recommend doing. You can create a link in here for Collaborate that makes it a little bit easier for your students to navigate to, rather than telling them to go to Tools or provide something like that. You can go up here to this little doohickey. Everybody familiar with this? This is how you modify your menu. Up on this little plus sign here. I'm going to create a tool link and call it Collaborate. I'm going to make it available to users, and then in this nice little drop down, Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Click on it, say submit, boom, you've got a link to Collaborate. You can move this anywhere in the menu that you want, but you have an immediate link. Everybody follow that? Any questions on it? So let's see what it looks like. When you enter into Collaborate, it takes you to the Collaborate page. Collaborate is actually a whole separate entity from Blackboard, and this is, we're actually linking into it. In fact, in a future iteration of this, which may come up sometime in the spring, they are actually thinking of breaking this out into a separate entity entirely. But it will still function within Blackboard, a Blackboard course itself. So let's look around here. We're in the sessions page. You will notice there are a couple of sessions already. There's a course room which students can go into if they want to meet with each other. Up here in this little pancake icon up here, if I click on it, you will notice it also gives me recordings. Any recordings that I do in Collaborate will show up listed here. What do you do with these recordings? Well, you can leave them there and tell students to go and hunt for them. You can also go over to this nice little icon here and click on it. They can watch it. They can also watch it by clicking on the title. You can edit it, delete it, copy link. This is where you can grab your link for your recording. And then you can post it anywhere. Add captioning source allows a third party to come in and caption for you if you want, if you aren't doing captioning, so it can be captioned. This is true with any of these items here for recordings. It's also true for the actual sessions. You can edit sessions however you want by going to this little icon over here. Notice a few things here. You can edit your settings. View reports may be the important one that you want to do. You can view reports and see who was in the session, how long the session was, so on and so forth. So if you are taking attendance, that's nice. I will tell you coming up, I do have it here, there is an attendance feature which is going to be attached to Collaborate so that when people log in, it's automatically logged and you can look at that attendance sheet to see who attended. I believe that's coming in March. Hi, come on in. So, how do we create a session? Anybody looking?
You use the create session button.
Okay. It's not rocket science, create session. And let's call this, just give it a name. Notice here it starts doing some stuff automatically for me. Anonymous dialing. If you have a guest speaker or a student who doesn't have access to a computer right away or the internet, they can dial in with their cell phone. They can use that PIN and they can get audio only. Now, this also works to speak if you give them rights to speak. So again, if you have somebody, a guest lecturer or something, you can have them dial in and they can speak over the phone and present that way. This is not a feature that's used a lot, but it's good to have that convenience. You are checking off guest access to allow guests, which is what you should do. And the guest role usually comes in as a participant. The reason it comes in as a participant is you can modify what participants can and cannot do and see. Also, here is your link. If you copy this link and paste it to somewhere, your students can follow the link in or your guest presenter.
So you could copy that and email it to a guest speaker or whatever.
That's good.
If we go down here, the event details, you can have a start and stop date. I think a lot of times, if you are doing regular online meetings with your students, you can click no end. That leaves this open all the time. This is great for things like office hours and things like that. If you want to do office hours with students, you can turn this on with no end. You can grab the link and tell students, I'm going to be in my office from 10 to 11 a.m. Click on this link if you have something to discuss with me. Early entry by default is 15 minutes. You can change that time if you want to. So we've set up our event. This is what our event is going to be. This is how people can get into it. Now let's be more specific about what our session settings are going to be for this, what we're going to allow people to do. The default is a participant, but notice you can change this. You can do presenters and moderators. In general, presenters are usually the people who have access to audio and video. Maybe you got a colleague meeting that you're getting 5 or 6 people together. Maybe you're doing some research with multiple participants across multiple universities. This is where you can set the default role for this and say, come on in, here's the link for it. And you guys can talk over this, you can share your video, you can share your documents. In general, for students, it's a good idea to turn these things off. You have a class of 50 students, you don't want them all using video and audio, right? And here's where you can set that. If you are having students come in as participants, share audio, no. Share video, no. Post chat messages, usually. Draw on whiteboard and files, no. Just imagine what you would get. Allow attendees to join the session using telephone, yes. Participants can only chat privately with moderators. These things I usually leave unchecked. If you are doing private chats, then you need to be a moderator for it, I think. One of the other things that you may want to check here is allow for recording downloads. Although this will record your session and you will be able to go into the course and see the recording, if at any time you want to download this as an MP4 file, I already have faculty who are downloading it and submitting it to third-party transcribers to create transcribing. They usually want an MP4 file. This is how you can do it. One thing I forgot to mention that I will point out is that Collaborate is very, very mobile friendly. We've had all kinds of problems with Adobe Connect and some of the other things. Students live on their phones nowadays. They don't necessarily use computers. Collaborate works really well on a phone. They can go into it through the Blackboard app on their phone. There's a Blackboard student app that they can download. They can also open up a web browser. We generally recommend Chrome, downloaded to their phone. They can go in with the link that you have provided for them, and they can view it that way. In general, I tell students don't use their phone, but they always do, right? So we've got our settings here, and I'm going to save this, and what happens is that Sumter Demo is now listed. If I click on this, it's going to give me these things. I can edit this stuff again if I want to, but right now let's just join the session. And the first thing it's going to do, if you haven't done this already, is it's going to ask you, do you want your microphone to be accessed? Yes, of course. And let's take a look at what the page looks like now. It's empty, of course, because there's nobody here. There are three things that you have to notice. The most obvious one is here. Mute or turn on your microphone. Turn on or off your video. This is a raise hand feature for students. They can raise a hand and it pops up for you if a student has a question. You also need to look at, I don't think we've decided whether it's 11 and 5 or 4 and 10 or whatever, those 2 points. The first point here, let's look at this one because this is the major points. These are session settings. This is where you start your recording. You can use your phone for audio if all of a sudden your microphone doesn't work. You can use your phone as a microphone so that people can hear you. Report an issue is a nice feature. If something goes wrong, you can click on this, and it gives you a quick little checkbox that goes directly to the Blackboard programmers. They aren't kidding around about this. They are looking very closely at this. And I will mention to you, so long as we are on the subject, so far we've been using Collaborate since January. It has proved extremely stable for us. Very, very few problems, and most of the problems have been the presenter computer. Collaborate itself has been rock solid for us. Here's some interesting information. Tell me about Collaborate, Collaborate Help, their privacy policy. These are nice little things that you can look at. Blackboard has put together some really good, quick items on how Collaborate works and so forth. Leave session, the last one. As with any of these things, the important thing to remember when you start your session is click start record. A TA or a designated student or someone, spouse or a partner who decides to take pity on you and come to your class, you can actually have them in the class and typing while you're talking, and it will present along the bottom. See how we're doing here. There we go. So here's my presentation. It's now all loaded. It's a standard PowerPoint. You can also do PDFs and other items. If I click on it and say share now, it's going to throw it up on the screen for me. And I'll start out with slide 1. Notice now the student side sees it. Yes?
Would you, I probably know the answer to this, but would you still suggest for voiceover PowerPoints that we wanna save for the future and reuse, that we still use VoiceThread? Or is this isn't supposed to replace VoiceThread, is it?
No, if you want to do recorded lectures, you can do that. In fact, I can show you an example of it here that I've done. You create a session for yourself. You're the only one in the room. You go ahead and call up your PowerPoints, start your recording, and start talking. And away we go. When you are finished recording, you close the recording, it gets set up. The recording is now available. It has a URL that you can put into a content area for students to click on. Or you can download it as an MP4 and post it someplace else, YouTube, Vimeo, whatever you want. Yes?
Can you still share the screen, the desktop screen? Like
Yes. I haven't shared it right now because it's,
Yeah, it doubles.
I recommend not sharing the desktop because you get that infinity effect like you saw. This should go over, I'm not quite sure why this is not sharing the screen correctly. Let me see if I can call something up here that we can share. Call this up. So as you can see, you have controls here for this. You can click through your slides. You can talk through them. This is real easy to do an online lecture with. It's also easy to discuss with. When you are done, you can just exit out of it. I'm going to go back and see if we can share this Word document here. Not sure what the holdup is. Oh, I've told it not to allow, that's why. Polling. If you will notice here, I can create a question. And if I start the poll, for our student, poll comes up. You can close it down when you want to. Let my student make the right choice here. And polls start showing you immediately what the responses are here. If I go into show response, it actually starts showing me everything. This is a good way to jog your students if you're in an online class. I'm going to ask you a question now. Let's see who agrees and who doesn't agree with this. A little bit of break from the lecture if you want. There are timers that you can set here. Here's an important one that you may want to consider for larger groups. You can create breakout groups here. And you can assign people to each group. You can change groups, you can add groups. I will assign him to group 1 and start. They're now in a breakout group. You can go in as an instructor and take a look at what's going on in these breakout groups. Usually you're allowing students to chat. They can use audio and video if they want. This is similar to what was available in Connect, but I think this is a little bit easier to use. Questions on any of this? Does it seem easier to use? Yes?
On the polling, can you, as an instructor, check who answered what? Like if
Yes, when you look at show responses, it shows it.
show the numbers.
Yes?
From a hardware perspective, I mean, let's say we want to make this class more sort of a streaming or live thing. what are the bare minimum things that you require? I mean, I understand one camera should capture the screen or whatever, and the other could be a motion sensor, which is kind of focusing wherever you are moving.
That gets a little more complicated. You may have to talk to your IT person about it. Basically, any camera that you have shared off on this computer will be what is looking at you. How you maneuver that camera is up to you, of course. You can use your computer camera, but essentially, if I turn on my camera here, and by the magic of technology, we are whiteboarding here, so I'm going to get out a whiteboard. You can see the student sees
Yeah.
my big face here.
And then a sensor might be able to zoom in and zoom out, right?
Sure. If you've got somebody who can work a camera, yeah, absolutely.
In my previous experience, my professors used to use this for hybrid classes. And the biggest challenge used to be like he would not carry a microphone with him. So he would stick near the computer. Everything was fine, but the moment he stays away or moves away from it. So
I'm
that
sure
becomes
if you have an external camera and a Bluetooth microphone, whatever is hooked up to your computer, you can play through here. And notice when I first went in, it asked me to select camera and microphone, so you have that option, however you're doing it.
And then having a tab and run your PowerPoint on that kind of makes it much easier.
Sure.
It's, so,
I mean, basically, you're seeing everything that the student sees usually. There isn't too much here that you don't see.
Don't see yourself while you're broadcasting, though, right?
Well, you'll notice down right here.
yeah.
Or are you in the corner, okay, I can't, got the wrong glasses on.
Now, when you do sessions where people have microphones and everything else, you can set this so that if you have 4 or 5 people, they all show up in little windows here. You can also set it where everybody is minimized and the person who is talking gets big, which is a nice feature. Unless you have arguments. Everybody happy with this? Everybody willing to try it? You know, get on a session with each other. I tell you, once you use this and see where all the controls are, like everything else with Blackboard, it's easy once you know where the controls are. And it works really, really well. Just use it for office hours. I mean, if you're not doing any online classes, just use it for office hours and see how it works with your students. Get student feedback on it.
Question about the URL, is that a proprietary thing, or is it
Yeah.
public?
Yeah, yeah.
Proprietary, so no one can search for it and find it on the search engine?
Well, anybody who has the URL can enter the class.
Can enter the class, but if I don't share it,
If you don't
can
share it-
Google find it?
If you don't share it,
Okay.
and the only people who can get into the Collaborate session are students who are logged into your course. We'll go through that.
A secondary question, I mean, I use separate software to do this right now. We're not gonna lose the ability to upload an MP4 ourselves, are we?
No, this plays videos very well. They
Well, I
just
know it
enhance
does, but I'm
those.
just saying, I mean, the software I use has some features it doesn't have, and I wanna be able to still
Yeah.
use it too.
If you have videos that you want to share, you can go ahead and do it. You can open up a window to YouTube or something like that and share that window. You can do a lot of things with this. Very, very easy to use, yes.
If I'm inviting another presenter to the class and sending them the link, do they have to have Blackboard or the Blackboard app?
Nope.
Okay.
It's a nice thing about having that link. If they have the link, they can get into the Collaborate session. I have like a number, law school, Moore School, I know that they conduct large-scale meetings from all over the country. And it's basically anybody who has the URL can get into the meeting.
Also, if you're in an office hour and you have a wireless headphone and microphone, you can walk around the house.
That's really good, yeah.
And have, dinner, or anybody comes in, you will know they came in, they'll be going in.
It also makes sure that your air conditioner isn't blaring in the background or things like that. These are kind of average, I think I put some best practices in these Collaborate handouts, like don't have your dog barking, put yourself in a room that, is kind of isolated. Yes?
Can you do a test session that you can then watch yourself, like to see if there's like any feedback issue?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you just open up a session. Any of your courses, this is available right now.
And then you'd be able to watch it and see it from the perspective of the student?
Yes. Let's get out of this session. I'm going to leave this session and I will show you, as I told you I would. They always give you this little smiley face thing here. Oops. This may be really loud here. I've got if I go down to recordings, and you will, please excuse me, because I did this on the fly, just to demonstrate it to another instructor. This is a recorded lecture. Hollywood is calling me right now. So I was the only one in this session. I went ahead and just recorded it.
Good afternoon, class. Glad that you could all join us today. Today we're going to be discussing computer-aided language learning, which is our subject for this week. I'm going to go ahead and share one of my PowerPoints here. Computer-aided language learning is, of course, using technology in our language classes in order to develop activities and practice for our students.
I'm sure you all
the history of CALL is very
interesting. Language learning really quick.
And if you've read your articles for today, you
and skip through this to other sessions. I shared
that
a
he
document
discusses.
Here. One of the things I want to show you with documents when you share them.
The correct page here. He actually does discuss, if we take a look here.
Come on, Mike, hurry up.
Computer-mediated communications, just as Brown and Chapman both
highlight
refer
stuff,
to
you
in
can
their
mark it
papers,
just like you can on the
and
whiteboard.
calls it
Yes.
the transmission or reception of messages via computer.
Could you do that with a PDF, like pull a PDF?
Yeah, in fact, this was a PDF.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just shared a PDF, and you can go ahead and you can mark up it. Take a look at this line. Record your lecture, save the URL, post it to a content area in your Blackboard course, and your students can take a look at this. Suggestions about these, I always say, try not to make them too long. I don't know about you, but I hate watching anything that's really long. If it goes much above 10 minutes, you're probably pushing the envelope with students. Make them short. Watch this video, do this activity, read this piece. Here's lecture 2. No, break them up. Any other questions?
And all this here, like, once all this history is on there, students can access all this when they leave your course as well and move on to medical schools
Yeah,
and they can go back.
students
How does that work?
Students are logged into Blackboard, I think undergrads 1 year, graduate students 2 years.
After they leave the course?
They have access to Blackboard.
Okay.
Now, if you set this to be able to be downloaded, they can go in and they can download it as an MP4 file. If you don't, then they can only go into the course library. I have nothing more for you. If you want to try it, that's great. If you have any problems or questions, please give us a call or send in a ticket.
Quick extension to that question, which you probably know as well, someone else in the classroom I'm sure knows as well, but so like they can go back and maybe look at old quizzes and stuff and things like this, if they're still in the course for another year.
Yeah, if you've made it available to them.
Okay, so do you have to go through and then make it accessible?
Yes.
Stuff like that, it doesn't automatically do that.
If you've got it shut down where there's no view, then they can't view it. If you've got it up.
You can just put the dates from this date to this date and it'll close automatically.
Right.
and that's the way
Yeah,
it works.
But if
I
you
just thought
wanna
there was
keep it
one way
back
just to
open,
do it, you know, instead of having to go change the
now you
dates.
gotta do one assignment at a time.
Yeah.
I have some
But
other
they can
handouts.
still go through gradebook, I think, right?
I'm sorry?
They can still see it through gradebook, even if you
Theoretically.
shut the assignment
Yes.
off.
Well,
They can still go see their.
assignments they can do it, tests they
They
cannot.
can.
Oh, okay.
We have extra handouts here. The upcoming attendance feature in Collaborate. An item on course accessibility reports, which will be coming probably in January. We already have Ally working on documents that you upload. If you've noticed, there's a little graph on documents that you upload. Tells you how accessible it is and how readable it is. This is a better accessibility report. There is also a new Safe Assign report coming. If any of you use Safe Assign, and I encourage you to do it. There is a little bit of an improvement to the reports here. Please feel free to take these handouts. I printed a pile of them thinking there would be at least 100 people here. How wrong I was. Thank you all very much.
Mike, would you mind showing them one more little thing?
Yes.
I don't think everybody knows the attendance that's on there.
Attendance feature.
Yeah, please.
You can access attendance and keep attendance under course tools down here in course management. It's a nice easy peasy thing here, attendance. Your students will be listed here. You can mark them present, late, absent, excused, whatever. If you go over all, you can see dates of your classes. You can go ahead and you can actually set up your class dates in here so that they'll be set up, but it's automatically set for you if you go to today and mark them absent. If for any reason you need, let me go to overall, an extra meeting, like you have a class outing or something like that that you're taking attendance for, this is the most non-intuitive thing in Blackboard. You have to hover over here to click this plus sign, and it allows you to change a date. This feeds into Blackboard Grade Center so that you can give points for attendance if you want to. This is as easy as it's ever been to take attendance in your class. Yes?
Has Blackboard fixed, or is there a fix to the fact that on my grades, it does not assign a 0 to a not done activity? That's the best way for a student to get 100% is to not do anything. Do one thing and then skip the rest.
0.00 is what it usually displays. If you give someone a 0, or
No,
you're
if,
saying
if,
that
if
They
the
just
student doesn't
don't
take
do
an
it.
exam, it leaves it blank, which means when you go to the average, it does not
Right.
factor in the fact that it missed the
You
exam.
You have to actually
physically put it in.
You have to manually override it, which is,
Yes.
I wish it was an
it
automatic.
assumes as
field.
instructor that you're going to go in and put a grade
Well, I
in
would
or
assume
something.
that the thing did it automatically.
Encourage your students to be more automatic about taking their test.
There is a way though, pardon me, Mike, if
Go ahead.
I'm wrong. When you total the grades, there is a button in your total column, when you edit that, where you can tell it to add all the absences as zeros or not add them at.
On the grades.
When
Oh,
you're
it's
in your total column, when you're
Yeah.
setting the total,
The way total.
So anything
when you're
else-
editing that
If you
total,
are doing
there
weighted
is that
total,
button in
If you're
there.
using the total column, not creating your own weighted column.
Yeah, mommy is the total.
way down here,
See, right there.
calculated rate.
I close it.
If you say yes, it does not see any blank items, doesn't calculate them. If you say no, then anything that doesn't have a grade in a column is seen as a 0.
Okay, that's where you go. That's your answer. Then we could do it.
So if you forget to put that 0 in,
Well, we all know that instructors don't forget that stuff.
no, exactly.
As you get older. Yeah, any other questions, please feel free to let me know.
Thank you.